Monday, the 23rd of December, 2024, not 2004. And in this evening's festive special, we review Saturday stalemate at Bloomfield Road in Stevenage, our midweek exit from the Matty Virtue Cup and a penalty shootout against the Aston Villa kids. We also look ahead to the mouth-watering Boxing Day clash at Wrexham with the Rob Ryan podcast from Wrexham. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders podcast, extra time special, Christmas special 2024, definitely not 2004.
With a great tradition.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the Seasiders podcast, festive special. Only Tim and I are donning comedy Christmas hats. We are in the presence of the Grinch, otherwise known as the Grice Reaper. He only comes out for Christmas to ruin it. Good to have you back, Andy.
Oh,
no
yes.
green attire for you and a Santa hat.
Nothing at all. No. Took my lead from Nick. There you go.
Nick, your beard's not as long or as grey as it could be to sort of emulate Father Christmas. So something to work on for next year's special, perhaps.
I missed a trick. Should have come on a Saint Nick, shouldn't I?
Yeah, very good.
You did miss that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
David Coleman. David always a eagle-eyed viewer stroke listener looking at I can't remember what I was doing at Christmas 2004 vis-a-vis my slight error in the banner, which was 2004 there. What were we all doing in 2004? What were Blackpool doing in 2004, more importantly? Can anyone remember?
Well, it was Christmas, probably losing.
Anyone who's in the comments? Anyone who's in the comments?
Who was the manager in 2004, do we think? Is it Matt Martin still? No? Was he gone? Had he gone? Was it
Worthington? It was. I missed, because I was in Australia for a year. We missed the worst season on record, apparently. Was it under Hendry?
Hendry, apparently. God, that was awful.
Yeah. Henry, League One.
Terrible.
Andy's in Kaiserslautern.
Been there.
Games. Yeah.
Been to see Kaiserslautern play. Massive stadium.
Where my sister lives, unbelievably now, I think.
Right, we've got 3 games to catch up on since the last show. Fortunately, not many of us saw this one. Reading 0, Blackpool 3. I saw kind of the extended highlights version, but a thoroughly convincing 3-0 victory, gents. I don't think anyone, hand and heart, could say we were going to go there, A, win the game, B, win it in such a convincing fashion.
Right, I watched it all. And I thought we started well, but Harvey Nibbs missed an absolute glorious chance. He sort of fell backwards and hit it over from about 3 yards. I thought it was only Ash Fletcher could do that, but he proved there was somebody else. And from that time we just took the game on. We were very good. That was as close to like the other performance where I thought we looked really, really good, and that was Huddersfield away. Both times, opposition coming at us left us a lot of space behind, but also we looked in control of the game in both of those games. And Reading, we played very, very well.
How come you ended up going to that game, Andy?
I didn't go. I just saw it.
Sorry, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What's been your? Obviously we've not had you on for a while because of various work commitments. What's your overall thoughts been from the season, or sort of like the past 10 games, perhaps?
I just thought we really suffered from that, from Bruce's bad news and what happened there. coincided with some injuries as well. Like unbelievably, we're missing CJ, and now he's an absolute first pick in the way Bruce wants to set us up, I think. And we're missing that pace, and we've looked slow and laboured at times, I think, and just not playing well. We lost our confidence, and then over the last few games, we've picked up 3 away wins, two against what I think were not very good teams, Shrewsbury and Bristol Rovers. But that Reading performance was back to what I thought we will get into when we won at Charlton and Huddersfield. So I just hope we can get more of the same on these away games. But there's some tough games coming up, eh?
Yeah, Nick, over to you then. Thoughts on the Reading game? Andy's mentioned Ash Fletcher there. From what I did see, it looks like he's picked up this game and he's put in a decent performance. So.
Yeah, because he had an assist at Shrewsbury as well, wasn't it? And all right, it's only a tap in his goal, but at least he's in the right place at the right time. And Morgan took his goal really well, as did Apter. And like you said, I don't think anybody certainly saw a 3-0 coming. It's not a particularly happy hunting ground for us. And I think they were on a very good run at home as well. So certainly an unexpected 3 points. And then as we'll come to talk about, you're hoping we can then turn that away form and carry it into home form, where we've not won in, God, what is it now? A couple of months in the league at Bloomfield Road. But hopefully it'll stand us in good stead if we continue it, because we've, like Gricey says, we've probably got the two of the toughest away games coming up over the festive period, which is a time where traditionally we don't do particularly well either. So we'll see. But yeah, a great win, and it kind of, I'd sort of stopped looking at the league table really, because we were on that really poor run for a while, weren't we? And we dropped down to, I think, 17th or 18th, and then all of a sudden, your 2 or 3 wins and you're back up into the top half and looking back towards the playoffs again, rather than down at the relegation spots.
Tim, over to you. The Reading game, great to see Albie Morgan obviously fit and healthy again. That's the most important thing. But also rifling in one of those rasping shots from the edge of the box like he does. Another great finish and performance from Albie Morgan.
We sort of missed that from a central midfield player, haven't we, over recent years, where we've probably...
Kenny probably
I'm going right back to Charlie Adam and the likes, who would always score from midfield. We seem to have struggled to have players from the midfield positions actually contributing towards the goals, and it's great to see. I think Albie this season has really started to do that a bit, and it's a great move, really, wasn't it? I think Carl Joseph setting him up really, really well, but he still had a lot to do, and it was a great strike. And there is there's an issue, isn't there? Because away from home, we seem to have a lot more freedom and a lot more buzz about us. Where at home we seem to be struggling now. And I was just watching the highlights before, and I don't want to skip ahead to the to Saturday's game. But there's only Burton and Shrewsbury who've got a worse home record than us. But away from home, we've seen some great performances. We've seen, the Charltons, the Huddersfields, the Reading. So what I'm going to make a proposition here, and that's that we bring Critchley back for home games and just have Bruce deal with away games. And maybe between the two of them, they can get us promoted. I say it in jest, Andy, to be fair. But it's a bit strange, isn't it? We've gone from having almost an exemplary home record last year to having a very, very poor one that we've only won twice all season, haven't we, at home? And yet away, where we were absolutely shocking last year, we actually look the biz, really. If anybody said you'd win 5 away games before Christmas, I think you'd be quite happy with that. And if that's replicated in the second half of the season, it'd be one of the best away sets of results I think we've probably ever had. So it is. It's. I find it a little bit difficult to reconcile as to why we're so bad at home. But I don't think the atmosphere is helping. I don't think the way that we play, the way that we set up helps. But going away from home, we seem to have a little bit of joie de vivre about us, So like we seem to want to play football, and we do, don't we? We look like we mean the business.
I think Bison's makes a good point in the comments, John, there, that when we're at home, when we're away, the home team has to come out. You mentioned it as well, Gracie. You said the way Reading played, similar to Huddersfield and Charlton, that it gave us that space and chance to, to get forward and create something. Whereas at home, the opposition are quite often a bit more probably on the back foot a little bit, set up to try and not lose first and foremost. And as we'll come to talk about on Saturday, when teams come to try and spoil a bit and maybe play for a draw, we do seem to struggle. As David said there, 28th of September was the last home win, which is, it's now on 3 months now, isn't it? Which is a hell of a long time. And stark contrast to the away form, where I can't remember the last time we won 3 on the trot away from home. It is chalk and cheese, and we've got to try and find a way somehow at home when we've perhaps not got as much space to maybe do something different when, perhaps whether it's Apter or CJ when he's back, they haven't got the space. It's when you're looking for your midfield too to maybe create something like Morgan did with his goal at Reading.
I think it's even more prevalent because we're so far behind in our home games to our away games. And by the time we go to Birmingham, I think it's 4. The difference between home and away games. And I'm not sure in January if it goes even further than that. So we have to sort the home form out because we've got a lot of home games to come. So we need to sort it out, and we need, and I honestly think that pace is what we need, and we desperately need an injection of pace from somewhere. Obviously, if CJ comes back, that sort of works, but we do need another wide man in the January window for sure to give us that extra pace. And I think the lads at the back have sorted it out a little bit, and we've had plenty of clean sheets recently, albeit I think we're a bit lucky at the end on Saturday, but we've had some clean sheets, and so that's what Bruce was after, wasn't it, when we got done 5 at Peterborough and stuff. So we were conceding too many goals, and he sorted that out, but we now need to make sure we're scoring as well.
Tim, just bring you back on this. A decent shout from Bison's there. He says we don't have the quality to break teams down at home, and that's something I agree with. Saturday's game, we didn't look like we were going to score if we played until New Year's Day.
Well, I thought that Cal Joseph was probably the most ineffective I can recall him being. He didn't seem to have that effervescence about him that he normally has, and actually, I thought when Rhodes came on that he might be the sort of thing to pick the lock, and he had that great chance, didn't he? In sort of with his stooping header, sort of 5 minutes after he came on, and then it didn't quite happen for him after that. So I think Bison's is right. To be fair, I think we struggle. I think Andy, again, picking up on Andy's comment, and we are seriously missing CJ's pace. I think Apter's gone a little bit off the boil, and I think on Saturday, I was quite surprised on Saturday we didn't bring Coulson on, because I thought Coulson might get down that left-hand side a little bit more and balance it up a little bit, and it didn't really happen. So I was quite surprised we didn't make more than one sub, bearing in mind the fact that we were huffing and puffing quite a bit. But it was it was a poor watch, wasn't it? Listen, we're all there. We're all hoping to, based on the Reading result and based on the last couple of away performances, that we're actually going to turn in a we missed Rotherham, didn't we? So we're going to turn in a decent performance at home, and it just didn't happen, and it was incredibly frustrating. And other than the shot from Rhodes, I can't remember. I was in the north. I can't remember just testing the keeper once. Now, maybe we did, but if we did, it was pretty tame because I can't remember it. But that was like the only chance that I can really remember where I actually thought, yes, we might score a goal. And to be fair, it was a great save from the keeper and a great header from Rhodes. So he showed his, despite his age, he can still get into certain positions and carve out a chance virtually out of nothing, to be honest. But it's slim pickings, isn't it? Really slim pickings.
Certainly is. Just jumping back to the
we
Reading
just
game.
haven't got any, but outside the first 13, 14, we haven't got anyone, have we?
Yeah.
No.
That no one's going to affect the game after that. Odd people will have good games. People like Beasley and stuff like that. They'll have good games very occasionally. But if we're talking about being in the top echelons of the league, then we've got 13 players tops.
Yeah. Nick, good to see Ash Fletcher getting on the score sheet finally against Reading. To be fair, the majority of us on this podcast could have knocked that one in.
Yeah,
with his confidence nonetheless. And we've been digging him out, and a lot of people have. So hopefully it's a bit of a renaissance for him.
Well, yeah. I thought, with that, he might get a bit of confidence and then take it into the Stevenage game. But we'll come on to talk about that.
Okay. There was a game sandwiched in the middle of the Reading and the Stevenage game, midweek. Blackpool 1, Aston Villa 1, under 21s in the Matty Virtue Cup. Ended up 1-1 and went to describe this, the most laboured penalty shootout you're ever going to watch in your life. I was just praying for anyone to miss towards the end. It was
bloody freezing at the ground, I can tell you. It was freezing towards the end. And on my way to the ground on Saturday, I went down Park Road and picked the ball up from Albi's penalty. It was that was a howler. He missed by a long way, by the way. It was interesting in the ground because he got to a point. I think Raggy was saying, let's get it past the Nobbers penalty record, and which we did. That
was recently as well, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah,
it's this year against Fulham, I think. But anyway, it was a dreadful game. And
diabolical goalkeeping, to be fair, wasn't it? I mean, you're watching these keepers, and I'm thinking, they're not even actually trying. Neither of them. They look like they didn't. They were like just it's like when John took his penalty back in the Premiership season, somebody's fucking let it in. It looked like that.
I'm not having that.
I'll tell you how I saw it at the game. It felt like a lot of the Villa players were just stopping near the ball, letting him show how he was going to go. Because if your right foot comes forward, you're going to dive to your left, and if your left foot comes forward, you're going to dive to your right, and he was just signalling where he was going to take it, and they just banged it in the other corner. Just like, honestly, it was. I was beside myself. I was wanting to run down and shout to Banksy, "What are you doing?" So at least bloody tell him how to save a penalty. Oh, for God's sake! Anyway, it was driving me mad. It was at the game, but it's but hey ho.
We won't. I think the main thing for me, John, over this as much, Nick. No, go on.
Well, I'm not. I wasn't too disappointed when we went out. I'm not going to lie, and I was a bit like you, sort of somebody miss and let's get it over with because it was painful. I think the main thing for me was, though, that was an opportunity for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 to stake a claim for Saturday and to give Steve Bruce a bit of a selection headache. And as he said afterwards, that didn't happen. You know, it was probably relatively straightforward for him to pick the team against Stevenage because there was nobody there against those kids from Villa who you thought, right, that, you know, the likes of Finnegan, for me, they should be really standing out in a game like that. You know, busting a gut and running the show and showing what they've got and what they can do. And there wasn't really anybody who, like I say, who gave him a decision to make for Saturday other than you're probably not going to be in the starting 11. And that was the most disappointing thing.
Thompson, you're going to be in the stand on Saturday without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it was just when he made that mistake where they scored, Bruce just almost for a minute just stood staring at him. And it was just like, you know, Thompson looked up at him once and then just put his head down and just was lying on the floor and just like, he knew what he'd done, by the way. He knew what he'd done. And it was just, you could just see it coming in about, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 minutes later, off you come. And somebody else went on. He did try and win it, to be fair, Bruce. He put on Morgan and a few of the others just to try to win it, but it we weren't great. I thought Embleton's goal was a good goal. He took it well. But to be fair, they deserve to win the game. Simple as that.
Is it embarrassing losing to an under-21 team, Premier League or not, given we did have, I don't know, what, a 50% strength side out, I'd say?
Yeah.
The room.
Yes.
Yeah. We should be beating them is long the short answer. And we did, listen, Villa will have some good under-21s, undoubtedly, but they were kids, weren't they? And the most we should be is asserting ourselves in a game like that. And we didn't. And exactly what Nick said, there's certain players I think need to have a good look at themselves because they didn't perform, did they? When this is their chance to stake a place. So they can't whinge when they're not in the team on Saturday because they didn't deserve it. And listen, on a positive, can I just say, while we're talking about Villa, okay, Morgan Rogers, every credit to that player. You know, I liked him at Blackpool. He didn't always get the rub of the green. He didn't, and Mick McCarthy didn't always pick him. But what a great story that, you know, he's played for Lincoln, he's played for us, and he's the man of the match against City on Saturday. So while the Villa link's there, I'm going to throw that in there because I'm really, really pleased for the lad.
Agreed.
Mad Mick didn't think he was good enough.
We played it deep there.
Good enough.
We played it deep there with him and Bowler and Patino and whatever else on the bench and Pierini on the minibus going back with it to Blackpool. You want to give
every credit to the lad that he's made. He's obviously, you know, he's a star player now, isn't he? And I love that. I love the fact that we get to see players like him and Dewsbury Hall and a few others, and it's a little bit of sprinkle sometimes, isn't it? Just to see a player when they're young, before they quite got it all, and then I watch him on Saturday night on Match of the Day, and he's just like sets one up and scores the other one, man of the match, and you're thinking. We saw him, you know, listen, not as much as we should have done, but we saw him enough to have a bit of an affinity with him, I think, and I'm really, really pleased for him.
Sugar's the bitter pill of the Mick McCarthy era.
Somewhat. You need a lot of sugar on that one.
Right, so we're out of the Matty Virtue Cup. Blackpool 0, Stevenage 0 at the weekend, compounding our absolutely rotten home form. I think we've touched on this game a bit before. Does anyone have anything else to add apart from it was a a laboured performance at best.
I was just going to mention, John, just before you were talking about Ashley Fletcher after the Reading performance, getting a goal and hopefully give me a bit of confidence to kick on. But just looking at him on Saturday, it just seems to be, I don't know, like a lack of desire sometimes. There was some good stuff in the first half, again, in build-up play, some nice touches, but you're at no point thinking something's going to happen in the box. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be a chance he's going to get on the end of something. There was one point in the second half where I think might have been Apter had laid it off to Evans, and he kind of used the weight of the pass and put a nice cross in. It was one that kind of hung up a bit, and you're just waiting for your centre forward to get in front of the defender, and it was on the edge of the 6-yard box, and just power a header in. Be committed. And he's kind of just stood on his heels waiting behind the defender. And I don't get it, because as a striker, that's what that can be your meat and drink chances like that. And he just doesn't seem to have, I don't know, it's almost like he needs a rocket. And I'm sure Steve Bruce has had conversations with him around what he wants to, the stuff he's doing well, great, but what he wants to see in the box from him as a striker. And just, I don't know, it was just
I've heard him on Radio Wanks, Steve Bruce, saying he has told him his expectations of what he needs from him, what he wants from him, and is it replicated on the pitch?
I think the other thing
we all want him to succeed, don't we? We all want him to succeed.
The thing that came out from Saturday was I did not like the way how easy they were going down, and it was and
the ref was buying it.
It was it was clearly intended to break up passages of play where we were on the ascendancy. And like I said, as Nick said, the ref bought it every frigging time. And I find that incredibly disappointing, because they literally were dropping like flies, getting free kicks, stopping the game, breaking it up. Listen, and it's a game plan. I understand it. I understand why they're doing it.
Wickham with
the ref needs to be smarter, and he to me, he just bought it every single time, and it became incredibly frustrating, because I think it was an anti-football. It was to stop football being played, and it was pretty obvious that was what was going on as well. So I was disappointed with that.
I thought the ref was awful. Let's be fair, and I think everyone did. But it was equally as awful for them at the end, because that penalty was straight in front.
It was
of
a
me.
penalty, wasn't it?
Absolute stone wall straight away. I said to Sharpie, well, both of us agreed it was an absolute stone waller. It was. You heard the contact. It was a certain penalty, and so let's be fair. We got away with one there, although overall he was awful for us. He was also awful for them right at the end.
So I thought, looking at it on a replay, it looks like a dive, but obviously you were right in front of it, weren't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Nick, it was 100% a pen, 100%. When you see it in normal play, it doesn't look like it is. It looks like he dives, but when you see it back in slow motion, there's full-on contact. And I'd listen. If it was the other way around, we'd be absolutely spewing.
The player was still steaming at the end. He just could not believe it. He just literally could not believe the ref had not given it. He was just astounded for a while, and then suddenly he just suddenly went for the ref, and he just. I'm surprised he didn't get sent off, to be fair.
You've gone quiet,
John.
John, you've gone quiet.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying it was an instantly forgettable game. Obviously, an instantly forgettable ref. So let's move on to our next fixture, which is Wrexham away. A perfect opportunity to bring our guest in. Welcome, Nathan. Nathan's from the RobRyanRed podcast. Welcome to the Seasiders podcast, Nathan. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas. I've not got as festive as you guys with all your hats, but I'm on the
Yeah,
move.
you
So.
only
Just out of respect for our guests, we're wearing the colours of Wrexham. It just so happens we only had Santa hats to.
Yeah, we know
Nice.
tangerine one, unfortunately.
I was about to say I thought you'd all have tangerine hats, but I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. But I'll take it.
I had a quick chat with you before, didn't I, Nathan? You did get the correct colour for Blackpool. He didn't call us orange and tangerine, so top marks already from our guest there. So well done, mate. Right,
no worries.
As ever, Nathan, with our guests, we just fire a few quick questions at you. First one we're going to say is just tell us a bit about yourself, how long you supported Wrexham for, and a bit about your podcast and where does its name come from. I wonder.
Yeah. I have followed Wrexham all my life. I was a mascot back in 2005, the last time we were in League One, when we had Ben Foster. He was good then. He wasn't old then. In goal, people like Brian Carey, Dennis Lawrence, Juan Ugarte we had up front. Great memories of that team, Darren Ferguson, Carlos Edwards, etc., etc. And it was basically downhill ever since then. That was probably... In as you called it, the Matty Virtue Cup, we got to the final and won that. We didn't refer to it as the Matty Virtue Cup, but by the by, we won that in 2005 in Cardiff. So yeah, 2005 was great when I was sort of can remember going and following, and then basically downhill ever since. Dropped into non-league. We thought we were going to be there, maybe one and done, and then we were there for 15 years, and. Yeah, so everyone who's saying, Wrexham don't deserve it, we more than served our time in non-league, and I don't lose a wink of sleep for anyone who's saying we're glory hunters or whatever. So we served our time with Wrexham, and then the podcast. We started it. A friend of mine, I'm a journalist by day, sports writer by day, covering Premier League, which is far less exciting, trust me, than the EFL.
Which paper?
And
Which
paper? I work for the Daily Mail. So I work for.
Jack Gorn, then, will you?
Yeah.
I know Gorney very, very well, and he absolutely despises me and Wrexham. So no, Gorney's a good lad. I'm already winding up about Easter Monday, and like I said to John, I hope that doesn't get moved by Sky or anything come the end of the season. But Jack's a good lad. But so I started the podcast in just when the takeover was going through, so probably February 2021. Maybe it wasn't quite official. Only because me and the guy I do it with, both journalists, we just thought, there's going to be lots of Wrexham media that comes out now, lots of Wrexham content, and we've suffered long enough. We should be in a good position to sort of reflect on the good times. And it's been great fun. I don't know about you guys, but podcasts are super easy when you win all the time. When you get promoted, it's super easy. Everyone loves it, and everyone leaves loads of comments. So not quite sure. I mean, based on my conversation with John, it sounds like it's not been all sunshine and rainbows under my Dinosaur Mick and other nicknames that I picked up along the way. But I am listening intently because, it's been good for us. I don't know about you guys, but it's been very fun for us on the podcast.
So what was your reaction to the news, the Hollywood buyout? A, did you believe it at the time? And B, what were your expectations when it happened?
We all thought it was Russell Crowe, which might sound random, but his family used to run a fruit and veg shop in Wrexham, so we felt like that was a legitimate
2
link.
2 + 2 makes 5.
Yeah, we were like, that seems a legitimate link. Like, who is going to buy Wrexham? And it's funny now you look back. There was talks of they weren't the only people. Rob and Ryan, it turns out, obviously weren't the only people going for it. You got your classic offer from a Nigerian prince over email and all those kind of ones. So who knows what would have happened if we hadn't got. But when you find out it's Ryan Reynolds, and I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So when it was like. Remember, we had a game the night the names got leaked out, basically, and people were passing around a bit of paper that said it's, coming from the commentary box, like it's Rob McElhenney, it's Ryan Reynolds. And, you're sort of saying, give over. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way that those two are getting involved with Wrexham. And then I got wind that, no, they're keen and they want to do a documentary and put Wrexham on the map. And you're sort of thinking, surely not. And then they came on a Zoom call and addressed the fans, and then you're like, holy bleep, basically. Like they're in an LA mansion telling you that they want to protect, Wrexham's identity, and they want to redevelop the stand that we've had derelict for years. And the only way I can describe it is that, golden ticket, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory style. It's yes, well, I know we've suffered and loads of teams have suffered, but we won the lottery basically with those two. So we can't thank them enough for what they've done for not just the club and getting us to back-to-back promotions, but genuinely like the whole plan. I'm sure you guys can attest to it when you lose a bad owner, when you get rid of, and I've obviously followed your story closely, like the weight that gets lifted and the kind of the feel-good factor when you have good ownership is when the club is, at the epicenter of life in that area. It's just unbelievable, indescribable, really. And that they completely transformed that for us.
One of my questions later, I'll bring that up now because it's quite relevant to what you've just said there. How has it affected the community and the local people of Wrexham? Has it just lifted the whole area? I guess it can't fail not to, can it?
Yeah. I mean, a good friend of mine, a guy called Rich Watkin, he runs a lot of businesses locally, and Ryan Reynolds went into one of his restaurants recently and posted about it on Instagram, and no sort of request, just wants to uplift those kind of businesses, and suddenly there's global interest in people that come to Wrexham. I want to go, is this the table Ryan Reynolds sat at and had his steak and chips, or is this where Rob McElhenney had his scampi or whatever? But the Turf, obviously people know the Turf pub now, and Wayne there's done brilliantly. I think they've just come in and gone, right, we want to improve every part of the area. And it's like a lot of places in the, in the kind of Northwest or all over the country where majorly run down, and the football club, we sort of survived on points per game during the COVID season and got quite lucky with that in terms of we were at the wrong end of the table. We were getting worse, not getting better. The budget was becoming less and less. We used to have a thing called Build the Budget, where every game during the season you'd go and chuck your pocket money in, and at the end of the season, whatever you'd raised in the bucket would be your transfer budget. And unsurprisingly, that didn't make you very competitive the following season. So, to be able to buy a player with actual money and not like some poor kid's Christmas, savings is good, and not something we're taking for granted even now. So yeah, they've completely just injected life back into everyone, because now games are selling out. We're getting like 10, 11, 12,000 a game, talking of getting it up to 15, 16, 17, 20,000. And who knows, sky's the limit, honestly. Yeah, if you can get to the Championship, then why can't you go to the Premier League? And if you can get to the Premier League, why can't you do a Brighton or a Brentford, or, I don't know, daring to dream still?
You've got a big catchment area, to be fair to you, haven't you? You've got the whole of North Wales, haven't you? And
all those miserable Everton fans that are going to soon be packing it in, probably, that have to go past us to go to Everton. So we've got a big catchment area.
I'm old enough to remember Dixie McNeil and the likes, who played for you back in the 70s, when you had a very, very good team that played in what's now the Championship, and you used to get good crowds, and you were good to watch, and I think you have got a good catchment area there, and I think there is definitely scope to upgrade what's going on to that next level without necessarily compromising on what you're trying to achieve, because I think it is a North Wales identity, isn't it? It's not just Wrexham; it's a North Wales thing that's going on there.
Yeah, and you think of the talent we've been able to bring through, and all, Joey Jones, who is quite unwell now, but he gets to as many games as he can. Fabulous footballer, played for Liverpool, an icon there. Mickey Thomas, he's always at the games, very, very cheeky. I get on well with Mickey. He's always there giving speeches before the games or after the games. Dixie still goes to as many matches as he can get to. You've got Barry Horn there. And, so I think the key focus for the club's been so fixated on let's get up the leagues as quickly as we can. But I think there's a lot more that needs to be done still. And that maybe sounds a bit greedy, but, we still don't have a training ground. And that compromises the players you're able to bring through. Yeah, well, there you go. But they came in it'd be February, it'd be 4 years, and they were saying, this is one of our primary focuses. And you get into 4 years, you get into the Championship where you might end up having a 3-sided ground and no training ground. And I know this is me getting the violin out here because we're flying high and flying through the leagues, but eventually these things will catch up with you. And I know you guys have been up to the Premier League, and kind of the money that sloshes around there, and the expectations of some of these players, the divas and whatnot. So, we're doing brilliantly well. And I just wish I listening before I came on, listening to you guys talk about Morgan Rogers a little bit, and I wrote about him today for work about players that had gone out on loan to different clubs, and Louis Barry's obviously done really well at Stockport recently. I think that's probably the one thing we haven't really had in that takeover, just this reticence to go and get players on loan, where I'm sure, I don't know exactly how Morgan Rogers got on with you guys, but I would like to see us do that a bit more, use connections in the game. We're in a good area next to maybe Liverpool, Manchester, in Birmingham, to try and, get some of these top young talents as well. I'm just getting greedy now. I've come on here and I'm flexing our financial muscle and our kind of global appeal documentary. So I'll be quiet now. So I'll shut up.
I managed to get a ticket for the Wrexham Notts County game in the National League.
Wow.
The 3-2 game. Yeah, where Foster saved the penalty at the end. And it was, I was just interested, really. I just became interested in what was going on, and I was doing nothing else that day. And so I managed to get a ticket via a friend. And so I met Wayne at the turf and seeing how that had taken off, and Scoot from Declan Swans, and it was just interesting to see how it all affected their lives in such a positive way, and everybody was so upbeat about what the future held, and how it was more the positive impact on the town and businesses within the town. Even at that point, and obviously that's gone on now, and we even spoke about this in the Armfield on Saturday. What would have happened if they'd have got hold of Blackpool? Because I think they'd have been much the same. It would have been about the community, and it would have been so fantastic for us, and they would have. I'm sure we would have took off in a similar way. And it was quite interesting, and I think it's a model that a lot of us would love. I just imagine people doing documentaries on Blackpool in a positive way. It would just be really exciting, and I think somebody did do that. It would be they'd get they'd garner a lot of publicity from it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Blackpool would have been a good alternative. I think they were looking at Hartlepool as well. They were looking at Macclesfield. Definitely, they were looking at non-league, because I guess from a documentary point of view, there's more steps up the ladder.
More of a story as well.
Yeah, more of a story. You lot of, but you'd have been a good story in your own right. You have terrible ownership previously, ex-Premier League. Getting you back to the top would have been good, but. Fortunately for you guys, it was us, and fortunately for us, it was us. So
you've served your time though, 15 years in non-league.
Yeah,
that must have been pretty horrific, like you mentioned previously.
Yeah,
Nathan. You go down there, you expect to bounce back pretty soon, but to be down there for 15 years and bucket rattling for transfer funds, it must have been pretty grim.
What it does also, John, just to reinforce, when we spoke about. When we were going through our boycott and we were saying we'd go non-league to get rid of the oysters, what you don't realise necessarily is you think you go non-league and you can bounce back quite quickly. But as teams like Stockport and Wrexham have particularly shown, it isn't that easy, and we might think we're bigger, but we're not. We're not bigger than a Stockport or Wrexham in reality, because these teams can bring in the same crowds that we can. But even when they did in the non-league sphere, when they had good crowds, and it's still incredibly difficult, because unless you've got the support of an owner who's actually going to fund it, it doesn't happen, does it? It doesn't happen. And we've seen with Wrexham, we've seen with Halifax, we've seen with various other teams, Oldham, all these teams who have got support struggle. And they struggle generally. It's because it's funding, isn't it? It's funding, and we've spoken here about kids putting the Christmas money towards transfer fees, and listen, that is good. It's not good, but it's good if that makes sense. Because as a fan, if you do that when you're young, and you know of other people who've done that when of that age, then it helps build your identity. And that's incredibly important, because money doesn't buy everything, and putting your soul on the line and and creating something which, to be fair, we've done at Blackpool, haven't we? We've had to put our heart and soul on the line over a number of years to break the ownership model that we previously had. And it's I think Wrexham is so much better for the fact they spent 15 years in the wilderness, because you will never ever not appreciate where you've come from. And I think we know where we've come from, and I think we've come a slightly different model, but it's the same point, isn't it? You're not the Liverpools, you're not the Man United, you're not the City fans who populate all our pubs, who talk about themselves as being the best fans in the world. They're not the best fans in the world. The best fans in the world are the ones who put the Christmas money to buy a player fund, and the best fans in the world are the ones who boycott the club to get rid of the fucking knobheads that we used to have. And that's what makes your club. That's what makes the identity that makes something special. So when something does happen, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love your story, because I know you've been through so much shit beforehand. It's not like you've had it handed on a plate.
Well, I mean, our critics who we've beaten to promotion would disagree, but I would agree with you that it's not been easy. But when you think of, I think of just like sports, all about moments as a fan, right? Like often there's lots of rubbish ones, but there's just a few that sustain you, and I think that Notts County game, like that Ben Foster save, will, whatever we do from here, whether we make it to the Premier League or whatever, that Ben Foster penalty save to essentially secure his promotion that day was, I'll never forget that feeling. I'll never forget knowing that we were finally going to escape the National League, because many years ago we got 98 points and Jamie Vardy was at Fleetwood then, and they beat us to promotion, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs because we'd spent every emotion to get those 98 points, and it wasn't enough. Finished second, and there's only one automatic. So to know that really cathartic feeling about you're finally going to get out of that penalty save. And I don't know, like looking from afar for you guys, like the moments I can think of, was it Charlie Adams scoring a screamer at Wembley, the playoff final, was it? Yeah. And, just moments like that as a fan, like, yes, you go through so much rubbish and heartache. And hopefully for you that extends to, someone's saying stop fawning, so I'll extend it a bit of needle to say hopefully that extends to Boxing Day, because Paul's getting a bit annoyed here that we're all being super nice to each other. But so I'll say hope you lose terribly on Boxing Day. But I also hope we win about 4-3, because John said if Ashley Fletcher scores a hat trick, I'm due £1 million. So if it can be a high scoring game, that'd be great. But it's all about, basically, I'll end on this to say it's all about moments as a fan, right? And I think Foster up there be one of them. And just even recently, like you're saying about appreciating stuff, I remember we had a game away at Ebbsfleet where they refused to warm up. They were in dispute with their owner. They didn't warm up before the game, so it's just you're looking out on the pitch, we're warming up, there's nothing on their side, and they thrashed us on the day. I've never known a feeling like that, where a team's not warmed up, not done a single stretch, and they absolutely beat the brakes off us. So I'll never forget that as long as we keep going either. So,
that sounds a bit like our Barnet away moment, doesn't it? We lost 7-0 once to Barnet away. That was kind of our low, wasn't it? But we miraculously went up that season through an amazing run of results.
We had 14,000 away fans at Barnet that day. So.
It's like a badge of honour that everyone wears. I was there, and even though I was there.
God, even though you can't get the score right.
Histon once came to us and brought 0 away fans. The away end was fully empty. Histon brought nobody, not one to Wrexham. I know it's not the best place on earth, but it's better than having nobody there.
Oh God!
I'll tell you that.
0 away fans. Right, Nathan. As ever, these things always sign off with a match prediction, don't they? Obviously, you will be getting £1 million of the Queen's pounds into your fans' buckets if Ashley Fletcher scores a hat trick. So, is it going to be Blackpool 3, Wrexham something or other? Who knows? So, give us your thoughts.
Look, away from home, and I know we're at home. Away from home, we've been really, really poor. Only scored 8 goals. And we've got a bad habit at the minute of not being able to put teams away. So, 2-1 up against Cambridge, that ends up being 2-2. 1-0 up against Bristol Rovers, that finishes 1-1. Both goals past 85 minutes. Really frustrating. And our strikers, I think six of them have combined for 11 goals, and the one with 5 is not playing. He's broke his leg. So goals are a bit of a problem, but we are the best team at home in the division. So I'm not about to come on here and say that Wrexham will have a really difficult time at home. So I'm going to say, because you're quite good away from home, I'll say 2-1. So no £1 million to me, but I'll say 2-1 to Wrexham.
Probably a fair bit of truth in that.
Load of rubbish.
Hey, well, you lot are good on the road. As I was saying to John, you lot fifth best away team, and Cambridge are much worse than you, and they got a point off us. So I don't know. I think you're catching us at a good moment. I think because we're entering a period where we just seem to be tripping ourselves up. And I think if you've got a bit of pace on the counter attack, and you've got a bit of guile in wide areas, and you know how to wind James McLean up, which doesn't take too much. But if you know how to do that, I think if you know how to do that, I think it could be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
He's not our greatest friend, and we're not his.
I mean, you're joining a long list of teams that don't like him apparently. So I don't know why.
We'll be here all night.
He's great. I like him. He's great. Yeah, we like him. So
he's the archetypal pantomime villain, isn't he?
Exactly.
It's quite funny because a Wrexham lad I know couldn't stand him before he played for you. Now he thinks he's the best since sliced bread. But
there you go. What people are saying 2-2 in the comments. I mean, maybe we'll see. I'm gonna still edge to Wrexham. We need a win badly, and hopefully you lot are muddled up and in that sort of pre-Bruce return.
We are awful at Christmas. I can't remember one Christmas where we actually played well. I'm really struggling. So
Bruce has given them Christmas Day off, and I'm just thinking, oh no!
Wow. Okay, I'm
keep
more
giving
confident
the
now.
players.
Thanks for that.
We keep giving the players Christmas Day off, and then turn up on Boxing Day like we've never seen each other before.
Yeah.
Listen, you lot are lulling me into a false sense of security, though, aren't you? You lot are all saying like they're coming on, they're all going to be hungover, and next minute Wrexham 0, Blackpool 4 or something. And Ashley
That's a great prediction. That's a great prediction.
Only gets 2 though, so I don't get my £1 million either. So it'll all be a nightmare.
I mean, we've done very well against away from home against teams that we perhaps didn't necessarily expect to go and pick up, a win. We've won at Charlton, we've won at Huddersfield, 3-0 at Reading last week. So, although it'll be a tough game, and like Tim says, Christmas is not a very good time for us. I'm actually probably more confident going into away games than home games because we've not won at home since the end of September. So, and I think the players as well know that they can go there and get a result. Well, I'm not that confident, but
I'd be quite interested to see that. I think where the game. I mean, sounds cliche. You could always make the case, but Matty James in midfield sort of solidified himself now as our kind of anchor. Bottom of the midfield, runs the game. Played 40 times for Bristol City last season. So him against Evans, and kind of who can really dictate the game. And both teams will try and play a bit of football. I would think so. That'll be key because we haven't got a lot of pace in behind, so I don't think your defenders have to be too worried about, maybe on somebody playing on the shoulder. But Ollie Palmer will be physical, and he more often than not wins the physical battle. So it's vital that the defensive midfielder or the central midfielders can stymie that by dictating the game. And I saw Lincoln come recently. They lost, but they had good control in midfield. Mansfield similar. So I'll be interested. Evans versus James, I think, will be a really fascinating battle in there.
Evans has gone off the ball for us a bit, so I don't know.
Speaking to John, I don't know if any of your lads are on the boil. Seemingly, Rob Apter I thought was good. Apparently, he's hit and miss. I thought Ballard was good. Apparently, he's hit and miss. Fletcher can't hit a barn door. Apparently, Kyle Joseph's all right. Apparently, so I don't know. I'm more excited about your lads than you lot are.
Goals. Obviously, that leads to your prediction of Wrexham 0, Blackpool 4 then.
Yeah, well, knowing my look. So we'll see.
Right, well, thanks a lot, Nathan. We'll let you go. Write your column for the Daily Mail tonight. Have a word.
Thank you very
Jack.
much. I will do. I'll pass on the message. I'll pass on your warmest regards.
Right, cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on. All the best, apart from that.
Thank you. Take care.
Today,
cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye. Right. Gracie, you went to the BST meeting
I did.
Give us a very brief synopsis of what happened.
To be fair, it was fairly uneventful.
Most importantly, did you get a free drink at the end?
Of course. Got me yellow voting card, which got me a free drink. Paid me £5 because I was just about to lapse. So, but it was fairly uneventful. There was few new people on the committee, and they talked about the 1953 sweepstake, which is really important, raising funds for BST. They're sitting there with 19 grand in the bank as we speak, which is an excellent effort. But they're funding mascot packages and the like, and community projects. So, like, it's something that if you want to donate a little bit every month to go on the Tim will tell you how much it is, definitely, but to go in the 1953 sweepstake, then that's going towards, not only can you win a few quid, but it also goes towards vital projects within the community and giving people that can't afford the chance of being mascot, giving them those opportunities, which is really important to grow the fan base. Within it, spoke with Chris Hull, and he was raising money on Saturday for the Salvation Army, providing meals for the less advantaged amongst the community. They raise about 1,250 quid. I think it was a great effort from Chris, and he's doing some fantastic work, offering free tickets to people that can't afford to go, and to the dog driving me mad.
Did it?
He didn't like that offer, no. But he, in amongst it, a serious point within it, and what Chris was saying to me was, will we come to a point where BST have to bare their teeth at some point in the future? Obviously.
What do you mean, Andy? What do you mean?
Well, maybe we become slightly disenchanted with the ownership as it is. We'll see what happens in the transfer window. I don't think we're there yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there is grumbling starting to happen, and it's more as much to do with the people that are advising him and the people that are being seen at the forefront of the club, of which there's not many, but which also are maybe Swansea Julian isn't getting the greatest press. We haven't heard much from him recently, have we? And that Sam Rush came in from Derby, not heard anything from him. It seems to be spoken about that the club's up for sale, but we don't hear anything from Simon on that, and it'd be interesting for us to hear what the truth is. Are we up for sale? Is there anyone serious about buying the club? And we obviously want a good future, and I'm scared that we haven't got any quality or enough quality on the pitch to mount any sort of strive forward. And that was a general consensus from a few people I spoke to on Saturday.
Okay, Tim, obviously the next big director of Blackpool Football Club.
Of course.
Anything to add from a BST perspective? Obviously, you're not. Are you still involved on any level?
No. Well, I'm not on the. I've come off the committee, and to be honest, I've come off the committee for a number of reasons. And Bison's made a comment there, and there's a perception sometimes that BST don't go toe to toe with the club in the way that they should do. But I think, to be fair, I think they do. And I think if you speak to Simon Sadler and you speak to those in positions at the football club, that they will say that actually BST do. I think the problem always is with a supporters trust is that they become more important when there are problems, and they were incredibly important when we had huge problems. And when you don't have major problems, then people perceive them as being less important. Hence Bison's comment. But the reality is that they do hold the club to account, and there are some incredibly gifted people on that committee. And I've come off mainly because I think I wind Simon Sadler up too much, to be honest. So I think I'm actually doing the committee a disservice, which is sad, but that's the reality of the situation. I think I just don't. I think the negatives outweigh the positives for the time being, at least. Anyway, so I'm a disgrace to the football club, as we all know. So I as are the rest of you, of course, on this podcast. So I just think sometimes it's the time and the place, but the work the guys do. I tell you, if we get the pictures sent round showing the. Bear in mind, this is free. So anybody who wants to join BST, you can nominate your kids to go to have this opportunity, and it costs $0. So you join BST, and you get this opportunity, and that is to lead the team out, and that if the club are charging, it's like 150. Listen, I don't know what the cost is. It's at least a $1, isn't it? But it's probably 150.
It's a lot, and you share it with about 20 other kids.
I know, but it is. But it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's something that makes young people Blackpool fans, and that's why BST do it. BST do it because they know if you get a kid going out there, they go in the change room, they meet all the players. It's fun. To be fair, it's a fantastic experience whether you're paying for it or not. And what it does is it makes Blackpool fans. It makes you tangerine. When you're 7 or 8, you're 9, you're 10, whatever old you are. And if anybody wants to join BST, they get that opportunity. And Mark said Mark's on the committee, as Mark said in the comments, we wanted to work with the club with this because all the money goes back to the football club. Bar prizes, which I think Mark will correct me, I think it's 40% goes out in prizes. And then there's a very, very small admin, but it's like minuscule. The rest of it goes into the football club. So we want to work with the football club with this, but they've got their Tangerine 53 thing. No idea how much that goes into the football club, but I doubt it's as much as the BST one. So sign up, you win prizes, and you do a bit of good. And it's a £5 a month, whatever it is, £10 a month, whatever you decide to put in, and. And you also get the opportunity, if you're a BST member, for your kids to benefit from this, because that's what it's all about. Nobody's out to make a profit out of this. It's all about making Blackpool fans. And so we want the kids to go and enjoy themselves. And the face, listen, I get the pictures every home game, and it's fantastic. Just to see what positivity is created by that little experience. It's only one a week, but that's 23 a season. We've been doing it for about 3 years now, so there's about 100 children benefited from it already, and they'll never be anything other than Blackpool fans. I'm convinced of that. So join up, guys. It's not a lot, and it's a really, really. I find it quite therapeutic to see these young kids with smiles on their faces. They're meeting the players that they idolise, and we've had nothing but positive feedback from them and their parents as regards what the experience has been like. So I'm an advocate of it, and I'm signed up, as you can probably imagine. So
I've got the URL in the banner there, Tim. www. In fact, you don't need that. 1953.live. If you want to sign up to the BST.
And if you just go on the website, it clicks up as a banner when you first go on the website. So you can get, obviously, if you just go and sign on for the reasons, you can click it away. But it's the first thing that you come across when you go on the website. So it's there staring you in the face. So and it's in peacetime, I think it's the best thing BST have done.
Yeah.
End of.
The dog's just jumped up on me. Get off, Ted. Right. Festive fixtures. So obviously we've got Wrexham away, put that on the ticker. We've got Birmingham away. I After that, Sunday the 29th, Shrewsbury at home, Wednesday the 1st, and Wickham away, Saturday the 4th of Jan. Tough fixtures. Season defining almost.
The 3 away ones are, aren't they? Definitely.
Top 3, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, top 3, yeah.
Although we are better away.
Well, that's what I was saying before. I know we don't do well at Christmas, but we're going to teams there, probably certainly in Wrexham and Birmingham, who are going to be going for it at home, and that tends to suit our game plan better than where teams are sat and we've got to try and break them down. So although it'll be very, very tough, we've gone to other tough places and shown that we can pick up the points. So I don't think there's anything to fear. We'll see how we do with injuries, obviously. Maybe get 1 or 2 back. We will see, although there's a bit of an update today, and there's certainly 1 or 2 who probably aren't going to be back over those fixtures, unfortunately. But we can still be confident in our away form, and I don't know. I feel more confident probably about the Wrexham game than the Birmingham one. I don't really know why, but I certainly think we can go there on Boxing Day, and there's no reason why we can't pick up 3 points. I'd probably take a point at Birmingham and Wickham. I think they're both doing really, really well. Birmingham, look at the money they've spent. It's absolutely crazy. And if we did that, we'll still be sort of there or thereabouts for a maybe a push in the second half of the season. But it very much depends on what happens in January. I think we'll probably do something on the next pod where we go into a bit more detail around what we think we need, but also what we think we need to move out as well, because it's all, Bison's mentioned there, 5 or 6 players needed, and probably wouldn't disagree, but who you're freeing up the spaces with, that's the thing. To shift some of these players on, who are probably on quite decent money. It's perhaps easier said than done. So I think we need to do that to be able to bring in some real quality. But then everyone's trying to do the same thing, and January isn't necessarily the best time, is it? So we'll see on that front. But in terms of the fixtures, sorry, go on, Gracie.
I was told on Saturday that when we signed Thompson, Appleton was very reassuring in the fact that we would be making plenty of money on him. So that shows what you can see why. If that's the case, you can see why owners do get a bit tempted to keep the purse strings very, very tight, like when we've spent money to get him, because all he's been is a headless chicken who's like odd good moment, but a mistake waiting to happen, isn't it?
I think
so.
You're only really good.
How do you get rid of someone like that?
Well, yeah.
How do you get rid of him? Who would want him?
Non-league, perhaps.
Yeah, but he wouldn't want to go.
Yeah. I think
that's the problem that we're in.
Yeah, the only way you're adding quality is looking at high quality Premier League loans like Dewsbury Hall and Tyler Moore of the ilk of those players. So
if Dewsbury Hall goes on loan, he'll probably go back to Leicester, and he'll stay in the Premier League or high.
I don't think we'd actually be signing him again. I think
no.
That type
what
of
I'm saying is that of those ilk, yeah. But we need somebody.
Well, you'd like to think Steve Bruce has got the contacts. He's managed so many clubs. He'll probably know somebody at pretty much every club in the league. So I don't think it'll be a case of he won't have an idea of who he wants. It's just
we thought Critch had contacts at Liverpool, didn't we? But that didn't happen.
Yeah, but I think
what I'm saying is, you think these people have got the. I agree with you, Nick. I hasten to add. I think that Bruce has got the contacts, but sometimes the perception that these people have contacts are actually going to bring players in is fun, because it all depends on dough, doesn't it? It all depends on money. And at the end of the day, are we going to be spending any money in January? That's where I think the jury's out. Hopefully we are. I would like to think that Bruce is going to insist that we do. But what's his leverage? What's his, what can he say to Simon that's going to persuade Simon to invest? Because I think, we all know that, he's got other things to think about as well. So I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I hope we do. I have a funny feeling we won't, but we'll see.
Okay. Just before we head off this evening, got a bit of a draw for a used shirt. Which way is it that way? You can see it there. It's a signed shirt from last season, the Leo Vega shirt signed by all the squad. We have acquired this and we're making this available as a prize to our patrons. Seasiders patreon.com/Seasiders if you want to become a patron supporter of this show. We have got this prize there up for grabs, and we're going to do that via the spin the wheel software, which when I bring it up is
just like there. Brucey Forsyth, is it? Was it Brucey? Didn't it? Brucey did this, didn't he? Yeah.
I'll try and get out of shot before we run this wheel. Just for the benefit of this audio pod, there's a spinning wheel with the name of our Patreon supporters who have entered this competition exclusively available to them. So I'll spin the wheel. Chris Barry, well done, mate. Long-time supporter of this podcast. Long-time supporter of in Patreon. Yeah, well done, Chris. We'll get that sent over to you very shortly. Early Christmas present for you. I mean, who doesn't want a Leo Vega signed shirt? So anyway, yeah. Well done, Chris. Right, gents, just before we head off, we'll do our own Wrexham predictions. Should we pick the team quickly?
Go on.
Go on, then.
No.
Nick's going. We're over an hour.
It's Christmas, Nick. Come on.
Prediction. I think it'll be 1-1.
Right, let's pick the team. Richard O'Donnell in net, obviously. No, Harry Tyrer. Tyrer in net.
Trier.
He's a trier. He's the new Mr. Punch.
And the club put something out with Trier. Didn't they? The club put something out last week with his Harry Trier.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
School of Excellence.
I know they sent that thanks for coming on Saturday, and it mentioned Tuesday in the body copy. So there was 2 games.
Hope you enjoyed Tuesday's game against Stevenage. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. No, I didn't. Media team. I didn't like it on
reading, boys.
Didn't like it on Tuesday, and I certainly didn't like it on Saturday. I don't want to go twice and watch that game twice. Thank you very much. Right, gents. Injury concerns. Anoma's out 2-3 weeks. CJ's thigh issue back before the year end. Apparently, Sonny Carey's returning to training soon. Baggett back for the festive period. Andy Lyons back in the new year. Jake Beasley back in the new year. So I think this team more or less picks itself, or does it?
Well, if Bagot's back, I'd be tempted to play him, but I don't think he will start in the first game of the New Year period. I think he might leave it to the second or the third.
We have tightened up at the back. I can't remember who said it. We have, though, haven't we? We were conceded the most in division not so long ago. We have tightened up a bit, so big up the defence a little bit. Pennington's been all right.
I think I'll go with the defence from Saturday, haven't you, really?
I
thought there's nothing massively wrong with the way
Wally Casey's been really good as well. Hubby's had his detractors. I think he's been very solid, putting a hell of a lot of blocks in, throwing his body around. Fire's impressed as well.
Fire's good, right back. But
I actually prefer him at right back now.
The only thing that I found with O'Fire, and this must be a tactical thing, he's very good at carrying the ball, and on Saturday he didn't carry the ball forward. Hubby was trying to get forward on the left, but O'Fire didn't get forward at all. And it might be that the fact that they're scared that Apter can't get back or won't, he's not getting back to cover, so he doesn't want to come too far forward. But I really like him when he carries the ball forward. He looks good at fire when he carries the ball.
Are we happy with that back four then, gents? Husband, Pennington, Casey, and the fire. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into central midfield, and based on what Nathan told us, is this a game where we bring Ollie Norburn back in to go toe to toe in the central midfield?
I think if you're doing that, you're going 3 in the midfield, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's going to do it, but I think the problem that I think it was mentioned in the comments before, actually, and I think it's a fair comment, that where we've struggled is where teams have come and they've played 3 against our 2. And because Apter and we've not got CJ, we've looked a bit weaker there. So, there is an argument to go for 3, particularly away from home, against a good team. But it's whether we do or we don't. I think I would, but obviously somebody has to drop out as a result. I think Norman's in a 3. He's not in as a 2.
Do it then.
Which formation?
Well, I'd go 4-3-3, but it might end up being 4-5-1 at certain points. But I think we need to match them in the middle of the park, don't we? I think we do. Well, I don't listen. I know we've always said it's our team, not the team that they manage. I don't think Steve Bruce will pick a 4-3-3, but if I was picking a team, I'd go 3 in the middle for this one. Otherwise, I think we'll get overrun.
I think we've got to go with what Mark said. Only change for me would be Coulson for Bollard. Hang on.
Well, I think Coulson was. I can't believe Coulson didn't come on the side because I thought that's what we were missing on that left hand side. Because he's a good, strong defensive player, isn't he? But he also gets forward as well. So it's like a double bubble. You get both out of it.
I definitely wouldn't play Ballard there. No chance. He looked lost.
Well, listen, you play Joseph there, or you play Fletcher there, or you play bloody. Who else did he play there? What's he called? Whoever we play, right, left. If they're not left mid, they ain't gonna perform, are they?
Embleton's played there, hasn't he?
Yeah, Embleton and someone else has played there as well.
Who come these two centre mids? Then who are we picking?
Well, I think there's 2. You're not going to drop Morgan or Evans, I don't think. I'd say
Evans undroppable.
Morgan's pretty undroppable, surely.
Evans is in.
Bison saying CJ will play. He's not fit, is he? Bison's, we're assuming CJ isn't fit to start. If
Back
he is,
before the end of the year, apparently.
Yeah, that's not Boxing Day, is it? If it is, I can see him chucking him in. But I suspect
it's going to be Evans and Morgan in the middle
anyway.
Yeah, Evans and Morgan. I'd be tempted to play Norburn in there myself.
The only way you can fit Norburn in doing that is pushing Morgan further forward with, sort of playing in the 10.
Or drop
He's not going to do it though, is he? Or drop Apter. Yeah. So, Kyle Joseph with an other.
Or he plays Morgan right and puts Apter into the 10.
I'd be happy with
I
seeing
don't think
Apter
he'll
as a
do
10.
that.
I'd be quite happy with seeing Apter as a 10. I think it'd be his best position.
But he tormented Wrexham when he played against them for Tranmere. He tormented them.
See, in the other spot, I'm leaning. I love Ballard as well, but I think he's struggling at the moment.
I think I'd play Jordan Rhodes.
I think. Well, I'm
give him
thinking
60
Rhodes.
minutes. I'd like to see him 60 minutes. He can just score a goal out of nothing. All right, his legs have gone a bit, but look against Stevenage, that chance he's created from nothing. That header, it was a fantastic save from the keeper. He had a shot charge down that was arrowing right into the top corner. So
the only slight problem I've got with him is in when we're playing away, it's that we need to high press and we need to be. And he's not. I don't. Sometimes he's a bit too slow, isn't he? So that's the flip side. But equally, he's the one at the moment looks most likely going to take a chance.
That Bollard coming on after 60 with a bit of fresh legs. I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, stick him in. There we go. Bison's hating on it as usual. Got any better suggestions, Bisons? We're all ears. Merry Christmas.
At least he has an opinion. Whether we like it or not is another thing, but he's got an opinion, hasn't he?
I'll stick it out onto on X and get people's reactions on there. Right, we'll call it a day there. I think what we're on, hour and 20. Sorry, Nick, it wasn't under an hour.
And are we going to have a quick run round with our score predictions?
Yes, before we go. Why not?
1-0.
Nick said that half an hour ago, to be fair.
Can I just say, I'll give him a prediction in just a second. I'll just say that because it's probably the last pod I'll do before the end of the year, that we reach the end of 2024 as still the only team with a 100% win record against Liverpool in the Premier League. There you go. And score: Wrexham 1, Blackpool 3.
Same
Sam,
as
are you going to bring it all us all crashing down against him? What did you say for Reading away? Can you remember?
I think I did. I went for a loss. I'm sure I went for a loss. But I don't want to do this. Why would I want to do this? 2-0 away win.
Do you know? That's what I was going to say. It's going to be one of those games. Whenever we go without expectation, something.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking I've now gone with expectation because I've predicted away. If I went predicting a 3-0 away defeat, would have probably win 2-0. So
I wanted to say 3-1 to Wrexham, but I just couldn't come to it.
Matthew Warren says 5-1 to the Pool, Fletch with all 5.
Yeah,
I think he's
and the tablets are available from the Matthew. The tablets are available from the chemist from 9 a.m. in the morning, my friend.
I hope not, because I'll have to pay Nathan £1 million. I'm going to go for 2-0 as well. I think we'll leave it there for this fantastic Christmas special that you have just watched. Do like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Join our Patreon supporter program. £3.50 a month buys you access to our competitions that you've just seen. Gives you early access to the audio pod, ad-free access, and it gives you access to our WhatsApp group, which is a right good laugh, especially at Christmas. So all that remains to be said for this evening is Merry Christmas, Nick, Tim, Gricey, everyone else from the
Merry Christmas to
ho ho ho
all our listeners.
Yeah.
One quick thing: make sure you like and subscribe because we don't say it very often. Make sure you like the video and subscribe because it gives us a few extra chances of views and things.
And up the pool.
Up the pool. Up the pool.
Up the pool. Come on, the pool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainsko coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try.